we don't have to look at the hundreds, tens, or tens digit or units digit because they're all the same, 529. So we can just eliminate this and it would be much easier. So we have 1400s, 1200s, 1300s, 1500s, 1600s, and another 1400s. And what we're trying to do, so the smallest is 1200s, the next smallest is 1300s, the next smallest is 1400s, next smallest is 15, and then we keep on going. Obviously there's two 14s, so don't forget about that. And then we end with 1600s. So to find the median, all we have to do is cross it out. Cross the smallest and largest, cross the second smallest and second largest, and continue and find the middle number. So since it's an even number, even amount of numbers, we have two middle numbers, which is 1400s and 1400s, and obviously the average is just 1400s. So the median of these, the median number of this list is 529 in 1400s. That's your answer. Just write that down on the test. Moving on to problem 2. The problem reads, two lines are graphed on the coordinate grid shown. What are the coordinates of the intersection of the two lines? Express your answer as an ordered pair. Since we already have the image shown right here, it's pretty simple. The point of intersection, the only point of intersection is 2 3 right here. You just have to look at the graph and the point of intersection is just right here. So if you don't know which is which, x or y, just know it says right here x and y up here, and we always start with x, so x is 2 and the height or y is 3. That's pretty simple. 2 3. That's how you write it as an ordered pair. If we didn't have the image, it would be a totally different problem, and it would ask you, it would give you the equations of the lines instead of the actual image. But we don't have to worry about that because it gives you the image. So yeah, that's how you solve the problem of problem 2. It's just 2 3. Moving on to problem 3. The problem reads, what is the absolute difference between -3 squared and -3 parentheses squared? So I want you to solve the problem yourself first before we go over the solution. You've done it? That's great. Now we'll go over the solution. So this is extremely basic problem, and what you want to do is not misread the problem and remember the order of operations. So the order of operations is right here, the acronym PEMDAS, and this shows that parentheses have first priority, and basically when you're solving an equation with any of these, this is the order to solve it. So if you have parentheses, solve the parentheses first, and if you have exponents, then solve the exponents next, and if you have multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, solve it in that order. So if you want me to go over order operations, an extremely basic concept, please leave in the comments down below if you want me to go over that. But anyways, we'll solve this problem. So -3 squared, and think of it as solving the exponents first, because there is no parentheses in this, so exponents gets first priority. So we have 3 squared, which is 9, and then we multiply the negative, or -1 as some people call it. So we have -9, and we also have -3 parentheses squared. And since there are parentheses, we can first solve that. And since the parentheses is basically getting squared, we're just doing -3 times -3. So thinking of the parentheses as one thing or one singular item, not two separate items. So right here. So -3 times -3 is easily 9 because the negatives cancel, and it's just left with 3 times 3, 9. these are all extremely basic tools and concepts. So if you want me to go over a quick video in the next session or next video, please leave them in the comments down below. So we have -3 and -9 and 9, and the absolute difference is just -9 minus 9, and that's 18. -18, absolute value of -18, which is just 18. So that's pretty simple. The answer is 18. So you would write that on your test. Now we're going to go on to the next problem. Moving on to problem 4. The problem reads, if f of x is equal to 2 to the power of x plus 5, what is the value of f of 4? So I want you to pause the video and try to do the problem yourself before we go over the solution. You've done it? That's great. Now we'll go over the solution. So this is a simple input-output equation. So think of f of x as y is equal to 2 to the power of x plus 5. It's your basic equation. So think of f to the 4 as having an input, and that's basically saying x is equal to 4. So what is y when x is equal to 4? That's basically what the problem is saying. So it's asking for the value of this. So if x is equal to 4, we just do 2 to the power 4 plus 5, and that's equal to 21. 16 plus 5, 21. So that's all you have to do. And remember, if you have an input, it's looking for the output. So just remember, whatever in the parentheses is what you want to solve for, and that's usually what x is. So x is 4. So we just put it in, and we solve for y, or as it says, f of 4. F of 4. So the solution is easily 21. If you wanted me to go over the actual concept and in general the concept of what this input and output equation is, then please leave the comment down below. Otherwise, let's move on to the next problem. On to the last problem, problem 5. The problem reads, what is the parameter of the square shown here with an area of 9 centimeters squared? So I want you to pause the video and try to do the problem yourself as we did earlier, and before we go over the solution. You've done it? That's great. Now we'll go over the solution. Since each of the side lengths of a square is the same, we can name each side length as x, side length. And the area is just x squared, and that is equal to 9 as given in the problem. So that means if we square root it, x is equal to -3 or 3. However, -3 can't work because the side length of a square can't be negative, or it wouldn't exist. So -3 does not work. So the side length is 3. But hold on. We still have to find the perimeter of the square, not the side length. The perimeter, since there's four sides, it's just multiplying by 4. So 3 times 4 is 12. So the answer is 12 for problem 5.